Hello everyone, it's Molly here from Your Future Forward, and I'm so excited to bring you this brand new series called the Apprentice Diaries. It's completely dedicated to apprentices in celebration of National Apprenticeship Week, and it's full of conversations with loads of different guests from top firms and top companies to give you an insight into what it's really like to be an apprentice. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you do enjoy them. That would really help us reach more people and help more people that are considering apprenticeships. So it's massively appreciated from our side. But for now, enjoy the episode. So today I'm joined by three lovely guests from IBM, and I guess I'll just go straight in, ask you guys to introduce yourselves. It'd be great if you could tell us your name, age, and the qualification you're doing, and just about what that entails, I guess. What kind of is your day to day? What does your qualification actually mean for anyone that might not have heard about it before? Euan, if you'd like to go first, that'd be great.
Yeah, so hey everyone, my name is Euan. I am 18 and I am a level 6 chartered management degree apprentice with a mouthful. So Monday to Thursday, I attend work. I work in the PMO office on my current project, which is project management office. So it's essentially planning, governance, kind of risk assessments of all of the current projects I'm on. And then every Friday, I attend university at Pearson Business School. So what it means at the end of my degree, I will get a degree in business management, but I also get chartered management status from the Chartered Management Institute. So that's why it's the big mouthful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Jazz, if you want to go next.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine. I'm 20 years old and I'm on the same pathway as Euan. So I'm also doing the level 6 business degree. My current job role at the moment is cybersecurity sales support. So I work with my team who sell services and software to banks and financial services. So I kind of help with all the contracting and making sure the deals are going through the processes that are needed. But yeah, so every Friday I'm at Pearson Business School doing my lectures and seminars with other degree apprentices from different companies, which is really good.
Amazing. And Ash, last but definitely not least.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Ash. I'm on a different course to these guys, but still doing a degree apprenticeship. So it's called the Digital and Technology Solutions Degree Apprenticeship. It's a bit of a mouthful too. And I started doing that in 2018. So I'm 20 now. I've been doing it for about 2.5 years. And it's basically a tech degree with a mix of some business thrown in. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And to support that, I'm doing a software development role at the moment in the company. So like Euan and Jazz, I work 4 days a week and then I study 1 day a week with Exeter. But obviously the university will change depending on who you're with.
Okay, so depending on which course you're taking, the university will vary.
Yeah, so for example, these two are with Pearson, but we also do it with Queen Mary and etc.
Okay, great. Well, we've got the intros out of the way. That's the hard bit. But yeah, it's great to hear about all your different pathways. And I think it's really great to have all three of you on the call because you're kind of all studying similar things, but I guess with a lot of different variations. So hopefully it will provide some great insight to the people listening. But I guess if we just want to go round, like, apprenticeships are quite a new thing. They've become very popular over the past year, I think, just because of the current situation going on in the world. But how did you guys hear about yours? That I'd be really interested to know.
I always wanted to do an apprenticeship because my father did one and my mom did university, and I kind of made my decision from there. But whenever somebody asks me this, I never remember how I applied for this company. I remember everybody else, but I don't remember this one. But,
so basically it was kind of a big influence that your dad kind of did one then.
Yeah, because I think especially at that time, my college wasn't promoting it at all. Everyone was like, yeah, go for university. And even when my tutors knew I wanted to do an apprenticeship, they were still like, please apply for university. I know what I want to do. But I think, like you say, it's been a much bigger thing over the past few years, and that's been really, really great.
Yeah, I completely agree. Off the back of that, though, college and sixth forms and stuff in my opinion, don't do enough to promote them. And when they do, they kind of, you feel, it makes you feel like the odd one out almost, like you're not going to university, so yeah, you're a bit different to everyone else. But I know in my school that was kind of not the typical route for people, and I definitely felt different to everyone going to university. But what about Euan and Jasmine? How did you guys hear about yours?
Personally, I always wanted to do an apprenticeship. It was in terms of kind of wanted to push myself, do the extra mile, not just go to university, because without sounding like really big-headed, I know I could do it, but I didn't want to, I knew it wouldn't be enough to keep me engaged all the time. So yeah. I think even before kind of sixth form, I knew that's where I wanted to go eventually, and it would be an apprenticeship in some sort of capacity.
At that age though, how did you even, because I know when I was doing my GCSEs and stuff, my perception of apprenticeships was construction sites pretty much, and it ended there. So how did you even know that was a possibility over university?
I think it was just research. There's so many resources available, and when you even when you do one quick Google search, there's so many sites available. So it was just a bit of research. I was in a similar position where school didn't really push it. Even when I was applying to my apprenticeships and going through the ACs and stuff, they were still strongly advising me to apply to uni, and I still sent off my UCAS application and paid for it and everything. So yeah, it was just research and kind of just the initial interest in it.
Yeah, being a bit proactive then, I guess, at a young age. Jasmine, what about you?
So my route was slightly different. So when I finished my A-levels, I actually did what they call a futures year with IBM. So that was like a year placement with the company, working in the business for a year. So kind of similar to the university placements that they do in the middle of their degree. So I worked with IBM for a year in global markets. That was working with European healthcare. And then through that, I kind of discovered that I didn't want to go to university, and I'd rather take the apprenticeship route after a year of working. So I kind of just applied through IBM that way. But even before that, the reason why I did my futures year was because I wasn't sure about university. Like, I have to openly admit, I probably wanted to go to university for all the wrong reasons.
Me too.
So probably for the going out sense and not the education. So I have to actually, I thought I best think with my head for once and actually go down a route that wasn't where my heart and my social life wanted to take me.
Yeah, I think that's so important though. I know there's conversations about apprenticeships, but they do so many other things outside of that, companies like IBM with the kind of week tasters, placement years and stuff like that people just still don't know about. And yeah, I just think schools need to promote them a lot more, but it's great to hear that all your routes sound really different actually. So it's very interesting to hear the kind of diversity amongst them all. I guess now that you're all at IBM, looking back to when you were applying and stuff like that, how was that experience for you all? Is the application the same for all the different courses, or does it vary amongst what you're actually applying to?
Even though me and Jasmine were on the same course, it would have been different because you were already in the company, right? So it was a bit different. So from my experience of externally applying, it was all happened very quickly, it seems, even though it spanned over like a whole year. So I think I applied December 2019 / January 2020.
Yeah.
After that, you had to do some kind of cognitive testing online, and then eventually I got through to the assessment centre, where I went to London probably March 2020. And then after that, you kind of find out, and when you get in, you with an IBM, when you are successful in assessment centre, you get input into a matching pool. So at this point, there's no guarantee that you actually get a job. They can't guarantee that you'll get a job, even though you pass the assessment centre. So it's still very much, you don't know. But I guess that's just so you find the right fit and make sure managers really utilise you when you come into the company. So due to the pandemic, I didn't actually know it was going ahead until probably like a month before. So I literally, like I said, I did my UCAS application, and I had applied for all my accommodation at uni and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And then on results day, I actually had to cancel it all because it was going ahead. So yeah,
all
even
worth
the same
it,
course to Jasmine. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, different to Jasmine, I think, even though it's the same course.
Yeah, just going back to that, a quick question about you said matching pool. Just for some people that might not know what that is, I imagine that's just to match in the right team or make sure that you fit within certain areas of the company. Just want to expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I don't know in detail necessarily, but it would be pretty much managers. So when you come into IBM, we'll have a task manager and a foundation manager. But the task manager focuses on kind of your job role and the next project that you might go on to. And it's really just so that they can pick the right fit for the team. Kind of at the assessment centre, they'll ask what you're interested in and what do you see yourself doing. So it's kind of just so it's the right fit and to ensure that you'd be interested in the kind of things that you'd be doing every day.
Yeah, and I think with situations like that, it can be quite torturous and stressful and think, have I actually got the job? But I think they're great processes because although they're looking for the right candidate, you want to make sure that you're in the team that you'll enjoy as well. So it's probably just as much for you as it is for them. But yeah, I guess back to application processes, what were your two like, girls?
Every company that I applied for was very different, but even my experience, like compared to Euan's and compared to a lot of people that I know in IBM, was very different. So I first of all had to do a video interview because I was interviewing for a different part of the business. So I had to do that first, then I went to my assessment center. But on my assessment center, I actually had an interview for a role I was going into. So I didn't have to enter the matching pool. I went straight into a role, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then some people I know had to wait like 2 years. They'd forgotten IBM existed.
Oh my gosh.
They're in like another job and they get this application from IBM like, do you want to join now? And then move over. So just keep in mind that, yeah, you might have to wait and it's very variable. You can't really predict it. And brush up on video interviews because my sister's going through this at the moment and she's had it
Really?
every single day in a different video interview. It's new stressing people out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great to hear. I think, yeah, such an important point as well for people listening. Sometimes you don't realise how long these things can take, and unfortunately you really have to plan in advance as well if you're a bit of a planner, I guess. But yeah, Jasmine, finally, what was your application process like?
So my application process for the apprenticeship from my future year was quite simple, to be honest. It was the same application form that external people would have had to fill in. So kind of just about skills of like how you show like adaptability, motivation, teamwork around that. But for my futures year, I'm pretty sure the process is really similar to like other apprenticeships anyway, the whole process. So like after I did a video interview, then I did the assessment centre, which is all quite new, especially like coming out of levels and like when most people apply and doing a video interview is definitely a very weird experience. And even the assessment centre, I feel like quite a few people can be a bit overwhelmed. But from what I would say is just like go in knowing that they know you don't know a lot about the company or like really a lot about what they like your role will be or about it. They don't expect you to like be expert. So I feel like the harder you try and pretend you're you know all this stuff, like the more like
completely
you get stuck in a trap. So just like go in like with you and like your skills that you can learn from being in sixth form or playing sports or anything and like utilize those.
Yeah, completely. And I think it's just about doing what you can. So you can research companies externally on their websites, find their values. But like you said, you won't know what role you'll be doing and they don't expect you to know that either. So yeah, I think that's a massive takeaway from the application process that a lot of people should consider if they're applying to apprenticeships. And then I guess like when you joined IBM, so I imagine you all joined at different times by the sounds of it. What was kind of adapting to the working world like? What's the culture like at IBM for anyone interested? Ash, do you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, sure thing. So just on the culture bit there, anybody you speak to in IBM will say it has one of the best cultures. The people are amazing. There are so many different types of people, so many communities to get involved with. If you're part of a minority, you're very supported as well. Honestly, I do think the community is really good.
Yeah.
But then obviously people experience different things. So I joined, thankfully, to a very, very nice team who are completely understanding of my apprenticeship and what it requires. My friend doesn't have quite so much an understanding manager. And you just, because it's such a big company, you'll come across different types of people. So yeah, just be prepared for that. Like it might not all be sprinkles and rainbows, but there's a lot of support in IBM. So earlier Euan mentioned foundation manager and task manager, which is something I've not seen in other companies yet because I hear what other apprentices from other companies have. So we have somebody literally dedicated to you and your apprenticeship and making sure that you are happy, supported, and your career is what you want it to be. So if something does go wrong, you're completely supported, and that's one thing that I personally think is amazing about IBM.
Yeah, I mean, my experience at Google, we have a mentor and a manager. So our mentor kind of acts as that person to kind of guide you, help you with career decisions and stuff like that, which I think is a big part and impacts your apprenticeship massively. Yeah, so it's an interesting point around it really matters about who you get paired with, I think. And I think that is a consideration for an apprenticeship, is you kind of have to be careful around that. But yeah, the people make it, definitely. Yeah, what about you guys? How did you find the culture IBM when you first joined?
I think when I first went in, so in my futures year and during my apprenticeship, I was lucky enough to be in the office for about 6 months before obviously the whole of COVID
pandemic.
COVID. And I feel like for me, when I first went into the office, it was a lot more like a really relaxed, chilled out vibe. I expected it to kind of be like a typical what you see in telly, London office, everyone in suits, really formal. But it was actually really relaxed, everyone's so welcoming. I feel like that's the one thing I get from IBM. It's definitely if you ask anyone for a catch up or to learn more about their role or what they do, I'm going to say 99% of the time they're always open to talking to you and trying to help you out. And I feel for that 1% of the times, just take it as just a knock that you have to experience in life and not get too upset about it, because
and often it's nothing personal. It's all down to their time and this.
The other 9 people you would ask will be absolutely fine. So I guess you have to understand some people may be really busy, or they could be dealing with a massive project. So I feel it's just take everything as it comes and try to not take it as it was just you. It could have been several other people on that day. So just try and take everything as positively as you can, really.
Yeah, I love that. So important as well, I think, when you're first joining a company and the working world in general. Yeah, that's great. Euan, what about you?
So I mean, I joined in September 2020, so I've only been online so far. Everything's been online, so I've never met anyone in person. But kind of even then, it signifies the strength of the culture, I think, because I feel so supported, even though it's not my first professional job and I've never met anyone that I'm working with. So there's definitely down to the situation you're in. So there are certain people that I work with, potentially people higher up, who don't understand what my apprenticeship is. They don't understand that I'm doing a degree alongside it. So there's definitely kind of a learning curve for certain people. But then because IBM have so many different apprenticeships to offer, on the other side, there is such a strong kind of young culture. All the interns and apprenticeships fall into a thing called foundation. And there's so many, as Ash said, groups and initiatives you can get involved in. I'm helping plan National Apprenticeship Week currently. So that's how I met Ash. And now we speak too much, you probably get sick of me, that kind of thing. So there's so many people you can meet. It's really good. And there's certainly the push on apprenticeships.
Yeah, and what is that network like within the company between you apprentices? Because from my personal experience, there's 23 of us at Google, and there's a few different qualifications, but we didn't really mix. So all of us studying digital marketing were really close, but I didn't really know anyone doing the software engineering. Is it the same in your company? Because I imagine there's quite a lot of you as well.
I would say it's customizable.
I mean,
yeah.
So there are a lot of people who choose not to get involved because they would rather not socialize, and that's fine. That's just what they want to do. And I don't know a lot of business apprentices because of that, because people tend to be quite cliquey. But for example, Euan, as you just said, got involved in National Apprenticeship Week, and that's how I met him, and that's how I met a lot of other amazing apprentices. So there's a great community if you choose to be part of it, basically.
I think this is in general with apprenticeships as well. You get out what you put in, so it's kind of all down to you what your experience is like. So yeah, completely agree with that.
And building on Ash's point, I feel depending on who comes in when you start your apprenticeship. So I started my apprenticeship with Euan, and we have quite a close-knit cohort who start together, so we try and catch up weekly and stuff like that. But like Ash said, it kind of depends on your personality. I love a chat, so I will talk to anyone and I'll socialize with anyone and try and get involved in anything. But then I guess some other people like to focus on their degree and like to focus on their work, so I think, like you said, it's kind of what you make of it. If you want a social aspect, there definitely is like a massive option for that. So kind of however you want to take it.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess, like, final question to round things off, what is your biggest takeaway from your apprenticeship? So for anyone listening that's a bit unsure or maybe considering applying to IBM specifically, what's your biggest takeaway so far? And I know you've all been in the company different periods of time, so it'd be interesting to hear what you all make of that.
I think personally mine would be proactive. I think there's kind of 2 points to it. So initially, for people listening who are interested in apprenticeships and their schools don't potentially kind of push them, is be proactive and always do the research, do it for yourself, be proactive in making sure that you know what's around and what's aware. Because if you then go to the kind of assessment centres or application processes and you speak to employees and tell them, oh, there was not much of apprenticeship push, but I was proactive and I found out all about it, then they're going to be really happy. That's the type of employees they want, people who know what they want and push for it, even if there's maybe kind of invisible barriers in the way kind of thing. So if they're not pushing it, don't panic. And that doesn't mean that you're going to have less of a chance than anybody else. Just make sure you do that for yourself and how much you want to do.
Yeah.
And then in terms of in my apprenticeship, it's just be proactive, like helping out with National Apprenticeship Week, saying yes to as many opportunities as possible, because then you just network with more people, you get to know those people. It's kind of the things, that's how you get recognized, if people know your name, because you're helping out. And if you enjoy doing it too, then yeah, definitely be involved in as many initiatives as possible.
Yeah, definitely. It's a win-win, especially if you're enjoying it. And I think you never know what will come out of an opportunity. If nothing comes of it, you know, like you just move on to the next, don't you? So yeah, I completely agree with that. I love that.
I would probably echo that, because I was in the company about 2 years before Euan joined. I've seen a lot of different types of people, and as soon as Euan and Jazz and this other guy called they like were beeping on my radar, because they are the most involved and like friendly apprentices I've met so far. And whenever there's something like an award going on or there's an opportunity going on, I hear all of their names coming across in conversations, and managers will ask me who I recommend, and I'm like, Euan, Jazz, Toby. And I mean, Euan's completely right. The more you get yourself out there, the more opportunities you get, the more you can progress your career, and honestly, the more fun you have. And I guess kind of related to that, just be nice to people. That helps too. Massively,
always helps, even if it's just a hi when you're, I'd say, walking into the office, but everything's virtual now, when you're joining your Zoom call. What about you, Jazz? What's the final thing that you kind of would like to finish on?
So definitely agree with Ash and Euan. But my one thing would just like believe in yourself and back yourself. So in any situation, like don't cower away from situations, believe in any skill you have or any ability and run with it. And if you hit a wall, be okay to say that you don't know what to do or you're struggling and ask for help. But from like pushing your own limits will definitely help you get opportunities, like Ash and Euan said, but also like help you build up confidence to just do whatever you want to do. So I feel like self-belief is so important, and people will see that even if maybe you're not 100% sure in that area, the willingness to do something is just as important. So that would be mine.
100%. God, strong answers. Very good finish, guys. Well, we'll keep it short and sweet, but it's been amazing to have you on the podcast, and I really hope people will take some great insight from this episode, because I think there's been some really insightful answers from you guys. And yeah, I guess good luck with all the apprenticeship stuff. I'm sure you've got a lot of things ahead of you. But yeah, that was it from IBM Apprentices. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share with any friends or family that you think might find this useful. There are so many other episodes with incredible guests, so don't forget to check those out. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Your Future Forward, where we share loads of different career advice and tips to help you navigate this working world. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and I really hope you enjoyed it.